There's always been a discussion in boxing about who the best boxers of all time are. In this video, we'll be breaking down who the best boxers of all time are, but rather than putting them on a list, we'll be using a pyramid. This is because by listing them in number slots, it implies that one boxer is better than another, when in reality they may just be around the same level. By using a pyramid, we can put people who are on a similar level of success together in the same tier. I'll be placing 15 boxers on this pyramid, and the boxers on the bottom of the pyramid will be the lowest, whilst the boxers on the top of the pyramid will be the best. Now, just because there's a boxer at the bottom, it doesn't imply that they're weak. Every single person on this list is Hall of Fame level and has done enough to leave a mark on the sport. For this pyramid, we need a framework so that this list is fair and logical. I'll be ranking boxers onto my pyramid based on a few factors, the first one being achievements and titles. This would include any world titles won, from multiple belts to multiple weight classes, and the number of defenses they had. In this pyramid, peak will matter more than longevity. I want to weigh how good a fighter was at their absolute best over how long they stayed good. Another important factor to consider is that boxing is constantly changing and improving. Take Devin Haney for example. He's a high-level control-based technician whose game is built on range management and risk minimization rather than dominance. If you sent him back to the 60s with the skill set he has today, he would dominate boxing. Nutrition and training methods are improving every day, and the average boxer today is better than the average boxer of the past. So rather than considering who's better, we should consider who is better relative to their competition in their own era. It's also important to note that this pyramid is completely subjective. If there was a right answer to this, everyone would have the same list. Let me know what you guys disagree with. Now that we've broken down the criteria, let's get into our pyramid. Starting with my tier 5, we have Julio Cesar Chavez, a living legend in Mexico who went undefeated in his first 90 fights, winning major world titles in 3 weight classes and lineal championships in 2. He possesses one of the greatest left hooks to the body in boxing history. Next is Larry Holmes, a highly skilled heavyweight who possessed speed, power, and possibly the best left jab in heavyweight history. He managed to defend his lineal championship 12 times. Rocky Marciano. Now, Rocky Marciano was known for being crude and flat-footed, but possessed pulverizing punching power and possibly the best chin of all time. He's the only heavyweight champion to retire undefeated, amassing an impressive 49-0 record. His thrilling style made him one of the most popular athletes of his era. Next is Gene Tunney. In an era where everybody would stand toe-to-toe and bang, he was ahead of his time by utilizing his footwork and fast hand speed to win 85 fights in a row. He would taste his first defeat to Harry Greb, but would avenge this loss twice. He held the American light heavyweight championship and would move up to take the heavyweight championship. His 2 fights with living legend Jack Dempsey would set attendance records that wouldn't be broken for decades. His record was 65-1. The final boxer on tier 5 is Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins utilized his ring generalship and his experience to school some of the best boxers on the planet. At 47, he became the oldest man to win a boxing championship. This was right after he was the longest reigning middleweight titleist, having held the IBF belt for a decade, making 20 defenses. Starting off tier 4, we have Sugar Ray Leonard. Using his quick combination punching, power, and high-level skills, he was able to become the first man to win major belts in 5 different weight classes. He was also the only member of the 4 Kings to have beaten every other member, and he was the first man to defeat Thomas Hearns. He was also bitter rivals with this man, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. If you had to create the perfect fighter in a lab, the result would be Hagler. He was a dangerous southpaw who had crushing power, relentless conditioning, and an unshakable will to win. He made 12 successful middleweight championship defenses, with 11 of them coming by way of knockout. The opening rounds of his fight with Thomas Hearns are known as the best 3 rounds in boxing history. Roberto Duran, also known as Hands of Stone. He holds the record for the most title defenses at lightweight with 12 defenses, 11 by knockout. He became welterweight champion by handing Sugar Ray Leonard his first loss. He's also one of the few fighters of recent decades to reach 100 pro wins. Next is Pernell Whitaker, possibly one of the most defensive boxers of all time who was untouchable in his prime. He was undisputed at lightweight and also managed to become a 2-division world champion. He managed to get a draw against Julio Cesar Chavez in a fight that many argue to be the worst decision in boxing history. And that closes off tier 4. Moving on to tier 3, we have Mike Tyson, probably the most well-known boxer on this pyramid. Mike Tyson at one point was regarded as the baddest man on the planet. He was an undisputed world heavyweight champion and would win his first 19 fights by by knockout. He became a world champion at just 20, holding the record as the youngest boxer ever to win a heavyweight world title. For a brief period, heavyweight boxing couldn't keep up with him. The cost of that intensity was longevity. The next boxer is known as one of the most dominant boxers of all time. Combination of speed, power, and blistering footwork. Manny Pacquiao was the first man to win lineal championships in 4 weight classes. He is also the only 8-division world champion in boxing history and managed to become the oldest welterweight champion in history at age 40. Next is Henry Armstrong, probably one of the most underrated greats of all time, being the only man to have ever held 3 division championships at the same time. This was back when the sport only had 8 world titles. All 3 of his wins were against future Hall of Famers, and within the span of just 1 year, he scored 27 consecutive KO wins. His relentless pressure earned him the nickname Homicide Hank. Coming into tier 2, any of these guys could have been regarded as the greatest of all time. First up, we have Muhammad Ali. His charisma, blistering hand speed, and moral compass made him the most famous athlete of his generation. In his prime, he had excellent conditioning, cat-like reflexes, and arguably the best footwork in heavyweight history, leaving him untouchable. He dominated not 1, but 2 different generations of heavyweights, becoming the only 3-time lineal heavyweight champion of the world. His fights against Sonny Liston and George Foreman have gone down as the greatest upsets in boxing history. Next, we have Floyd Mayweather Jr., one of the most skilled defensive boxers in boxing history. Floyd Mayweather throughout his entire career was virtually untouchable. He's one of only 2 men to win lineal championships in 4 weight classes and managed to retire with an undefeated record of 50-0. He went 14-0 against Hall of Famers and participated in the top 4 highest pay-per-view events in boxing history. When it comes to the greatest of all time, there is one man that stands above everyone else. Sugar Ray Robinson stands as the greatest boxer of all time. He had it all: power, speed, skill, durability, and ring IQ. He had 25 wins against world champions and Hall of Famers, more than anyone else on this list. He was a 5-time middleweight champion and managed to hold a world title for 14 years. He was your favorite fighter's favorite fighter, with the likes of Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard looking up to him. He retired with a record of 174-19, with 109 wins coming by way of knockout, and with that completes the GOAT Pyramid. There were plenty of boxers who probably deserved to be on this pyramid, like Joe Louis, Harry Greb, Alexis Arguello, Thomas Hearns, Willie Pett, George Foreman, Terence Crawford, Joe Frazier, and Oscar De La Hoya, but there is a limited amount of spaces on this pyramid, so this is it. Some younger fans may look at this tier list and notice that there isn't enough representation from the 2010s or 2020s, but a lot of these guys are still competing, and most fighters these days aren't competing enough to stack the same achievements that the people on this pyramid have. Let me know what you guys think of this pyramid in the comments below, and what would you change about it?